Good evening, and welcome to Wednesday night Satsang. We're so happy to have you with us here in the pyramid as well as online with us this evening. So let us take a moment now just to relax and to breathe together. This is our time of bringing ourselves into communion with one another, remembering that in spirit, there is no distance, there is no time. And so here and now, in this moment that we share, linked by the sound of my voice, we draw in all the souls who are participating in this service this evening, those who will be watching at some future time from us here in the sanctuary. But you are already here, and all of you are a part of one beautiful whole. And so we breathe into our hearts. We relax and let go of what is no longer needed, and breathe in the fresh. We breathe in the love. We breathe in the peace that passes all understanding. We bring in every good thing into this moment, into our hearts, into this time together. And in this, we know already that all is done, and so it is. Amen.
We move into our time of sacred chant now. Wholeheartedly tonight we are centering into our awareness of living from the heart. Let's sing together, Hear Me in Your Heart.
Hear me in your heart. I am calling you. Listen to your heart. I am here. Hear me in your heart. I am calling you. Listen to your heart. I am here. Calling out your name, whispering your name. Hear me in your heart. I am calling you. Listen to your heart. I am here. Hear me in your heart. I am calling you. Listen to your heart. I am here. Calling out your name. Whispering your name. Hear me in your heart. I am calling you. Listen to your heart. I am here. Hear me in your heart. I am calling you. Listen to your heart. I am here. Calling out your name. Whispering your name.
Hearing that whisper of sweet spirit within. As we shift into our mantra chant, the Mangala Charn mantra tonight, this mantra Ad Gurena Me is a mantra for divine protection. And so as you sing, imagine a divine protective light around you. The words that we are speaking, which translate into I bow to the true primal creative wisdom that expresses as me, as my true self. Let's sing together.
Ad Gurena me, Jugat Gurena me, Sat Gurena me, Siddhi Gurudevena me. Ad Gurena me, Jugat Gurena me, Sat Gurena me, Siddhi Gurudevena me. Ad Gurena me, Jugat Gurena me, Sat Gurena me, Siddhi Gurudevena me. Ad Gurena me, Jugat Gurena me, Sat Gurena me, Siddhi Gurudevena me. Ad Gurena me, Jugat Gurena me, Sat Gurena me, Siddhi Gurudevena me.
As we move into our seated practice, I invite you to find a comfortable sitting posture where you feel at ease and yet alert, present, feeling grounded. Centering into your awareness of the gentle movement of the breath. Inhaling, exhaling, allowing the belly to become soft. With each breath, feeling even more at ease. Noticing the natural rhythms of the breath. Allowing your heart to be soft and open. Your mind to be free and clear. And this sacred, spacious awareness, inviting you to reflect upon the blessings of your life. and all the many gifts that we all get to experience as inhabitants on this earth. The gift of sunshine, the gift of rain, the beautiful plants of the earth, the smell of the flowers that we get to experience on our walks through our neighborhood or through nature. Bringing to mind as well all of the many people in our society who support our well-being. The farmers who grow the food that nourishes us. Parents who love and support us, have supported us, support their children. Those who work on our behalf in the marketplace, on the websites that we visit, lawmakers, those who are healers, our healing presence in our lives. Whether in traditional or alternative ways. The postal workers who bring us our mail. Teachers who have taught us, who are teaching our children, our grandchildren. Being aware of the interconnectedness of all life. And as you feel this connection to the world around you, get a sense also of the problems as well, the needs of people today, and the many changes that we respond to in our environment, in our society. The animals that we inhabit this earth with, their beauty and also their needs. Our environment, how it supports us, and also how it calls to us in need for us to work in alignment with it. Feel the movement in your heart that wishes to contribute to our life on this earth, and the joy that comes with the offering of your own unique gift in this world. Consider what brings you joy. Seeing yourself offering with an open heart and an open hand. Listening, seeing where there is a need, and doing what is yours to do. I invite you to be open to these questions and allow your heart to answer, allowing a response from the deepest level of your compassion and your inner wisdom. Picture yourself 5 years from now as you would most like to be, having done all the things that you have wanted to do and contributed all the things that you've wanted to contribute to the world in the most heartfelt way. As you see yourself 5 years from now, allow your heart to answer this question. What is your greatest source of happiness? What is the thing that you've done in the world which you feel is the most blessed? What is the contribution that you have made to the world that brings you the most fulfillment? And now, allow your heart to reveal to you, in order to make this contribution to the world, what sense of unworthiness do you need to release? To make this contribution to the world, what strengths and abilities would you need to recognize in yourself and others? What would you need to do in your life today to take the first step in beginning this service? Why not begin? Thank your heart now. You can, even if it feels right to you, put your hand on your heart and feel gratitude for the wisdom that you've received in this sacred time, the inspiration. I invite you to be willing to commit, to take the first step and your heart's guidance for what is yours to do that even the smallest contribution affects the well-being of all and uplifts humanity and the earth. Inviting you to return your attention to your body and your breath. Breathing in, letting go. Noticing any energetic shift you may have now that you've spent some time with your heart. Listening to your inner calling. When you're ready, gently bringing your attention to this space, opening to the world before you with new eyes of renewed awareness of the possibilities of service. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Jeanmarie. What a powerful, empowering meditation. Thank you so much for asking those questions that lead us into that space of what's next for us and what's in the way. This is, a beautiful opportunity to capitalize on that beautiful space you felt in your heart in this meditation time, to breathe into that space as you prepare your gifts to share with our ministry and the ways in which you do that. Those of you who are here will be passing the basket to you. That's just another opportunity for us to be in touch with one another in this wonderful time of reawakening and reopening in some ways. But the real work happens not what we do with our hands, but really what happens from the interior of our hearts and how it is we intend. And so for those of you who are at a distance, who will be using electronic means, those of you who are here may also be doing the same, which of course you're welcome to text to give or the website. But however you do, the most important thing now is that we unite in that beautiful spaciousness of the heart and give with the generosity and the intention of serving the world. And yes, through the gift you share, you are serving the world by moving through Unity of Houston and empowering it to be the wind that brings the teachings and fills the sails of so many lives. And so as you hold this gift in your hand or upon your heart, let us now use this beautiful energy by blessing it and calling it by its name. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive, and so it is. Amen.
The song I'm sharing with you tonight is a song that's been with me since my last year of ministerial school, and it continues to speak to me and resonate even more as I get more gray hairs. I hope it blesses you. Lately I've been noticing how much I've been blessed with people to love, some peace of mind and happiness. It makes me want to pass along this love I've received as a way of giving thanks for what's been given to me. I've got a strong heart,
a strong heart,
I've got a strong love,
a strong love,
and I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I used to have a lust for more that bordered on greed, till I looked around and saw that I had more than I need. I thought I had to have it all before I could share, till I realized what's mine to give has always been there. I've got a strong heart,
a strong heart,
I've got a strong love,
a strong love,
and I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I may not make a difference that the whole world can see, but if I can share more kindness, that's what matters to me. I'm changing on the outside, finding gray in my hair, but the difference on the inside is that I don't care. I'm losing my desire to be what I'm not, and I got what I want now that I want what I got. I've got a strong heart,
a strong heart,
I've got a strong love,
a strong love,
and I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in.
yes.
So how are you feeling? Are you feeling ready to share your gifts with the world? Are you ready to bring what you've been learning in your spiritual practice into your lived experience to bless others in their lives? Tonight I'm speaking on living with an undivided heart. We've been in this series of A Path with Heart by Jack Kornfield, his wonderful book. We've been doing it for 16 weeks we've had ahead of us, and the work that we've been doing together, Wednesday night Satsang, has really been about growing our awareness of our inner spiritual life, our practice, doing healing work, training ourselves in the practice of meditation, and understanding the cycles of spiritual life and the possibilities that are available to us in and through our spiritual practice. And so now this teaching is shifting from, with all the inner work that we've done in grounding ourselves, to working into grounding this practice in our outer self, in our outer experience, our outer life. And so just as there are cycles in our inner spiritual life, there are cycles in our outer lives, right? Cycles in politics, cycles in marriage, cycles in business. And so we can use the mindfulness practice that we have worked up in our inner life to notice how those cycles are appearing in our outer life and bringing mindfulness to that as well. So we learn to be true to ourselves. We bring that authenticity, that truth, into our lived experience and our outer life. The wonderful Mother Teresa said, "We cannot all do great things, but we can do small things with great love." We can do small things with great love, and that's really what we're being called to in bringing our inner spiritual life into our outer life, our outer experience. I found out through this book that in India, when thousands of people would come to Calcutta to serve alongside Mother Teresa and the nuns there in Calcutta, and once they've served, she would send them back home, out into their lives, and she told them, now that you've learned to see Christ in the poor of India, go home and serve him in your family, on your street, and in your neighborhood. I am really grateful to be back. I was off last week. I was on vacation, so thank you for everyone did such a beautiful job with the service last week, and my family got to go down to South Padre for a few days, and on that trip we fell in love with sea turtles. Anybody, have you been to South Padre before? A few of us, and they have this place that is a sea turtle rehabilitation center called Sea Turtles, Inc. And we got to go there and we got to see the sea turtles that were being rehabilitated, and my daughter is 5 and she just loved it. We fell in love with these sea turtles, and they all had names and in these different tanks, and we went to this educational program put on by the education director there at this rehabilitation center. And after the presentation, as we found out about the sea turtles and how they ended up in these conditions, some of them had been hit by boats where it damaged their shell, and so they had to be brought in. Some of them lost flippers, and found out if a sea turtle loses 3 or more flippers, then they cannot be put back into the wild. They won't survive. So some of them are lifetimers in this program. And my daughter wanted to speak to the education director, and so we went up, and she went up to her and to ask a question, and she said, I want to be a vet when I grow up. And the education director said, well, you know what you can do now? And she said, what? She said, when you see trash on the beach, pick it up. That's something that you can do, because the trash is one of the ways that these sea turtles get injured, that their flippers get caught up, or parts of their body get caught up in the trash, and then they sometimes, if it's so tight, they've got to sever, remove that flipper. So while my daughter has this dream and to be a vet, we'll see about that, we'll hold that with her, that there's something small that she could do right now, that her little 5-year-old hands are capable of picking up some trash on the beach to make a difference. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about, that we don't have to do something grand that seems like I've got to save the world. There's something right now that we can do every day that is going to make a difference for our world, that can be small and could save an animal's life, a person's life. We'll see how Spirit is guiding us. So let's consider now how we would live if our neighborhood was our temple. I know many of us you all probably been live streaming before you came into the pyramid, and then there are those of us who are connecting tonight by live stream, and we're doing our spiritual practice at home. And so our home has become our sanctuary and the place that we live. And so let's expand that idea, that our temple of our home, where we have our spiritual practice, that expands out into our neighborhood. So what would that look like? How would you treat your neighborhood differently? Maybe if you saw some branches on the sidewalk as you're taking your walk, you might move them over. You might notice if there is an animal on your road, call the SPCA and have them come out and help. You might pick up some trash that you find out, even if it's not on your own lawn, out in your neighborhood. Get to know your neighbor's names, celebrate birthdays, celebrate holidays together. It used to be that this practice of living as if your neighborhood was your temple was the kind of thing that monks and nuns did in Eastern practice in their monasteries, their temples, and even in Western contemplative practices in Europe, that this practice of really an inner devotional life took place in cloisters. And now the monastery, the temple, is really everywhere in the world, as we are all now aware of how to engage in spiritual life and spiritual practice. And so where we are is our temple. So I invite you to say with me, repeat after me, where I am is my temple. Where I am is my temple. I care for my neighborhood as my temple. Yes, yes. I want to share with you a story that Jack Kornfield shared about his old guru in Bombay, who would teach his students in this practice. They would come to the temple to study with him, and he would allow them to stay long enough to get a genuine understanding of the spiritual practice, of liberation, the freedom in the midst of the practice of life, of love. And then he would send them home, and he would say this: marry the boy or the girl next door, get a job in your own community, and live your life as your practice. So it wasn't meant that we stay cloistered, stay inside, as we're moving and shifting from this time of being quarantined, spending a lot of time at home in our family life. Now we have this opportunity, hopefully for many of us who are vaccinated or are just making the choice to move out into life in a greater way, to find ways to serve beyond the four walls of our home. This is how we live with an undivided heart, is when we're able to see all of life as our spiritual practice and to live it with loving kindness and in the spirit of being awake, wakefulness to all of the good and all the opportunities to be loving and of support. The traditional Buddhist view of reincarnation can be helpful to us as we are expanding our awareness of our neighborhood, our community, as a circle that includes all of us. And so there's this teaching that every person has been born many times and that we've all been each other's mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers. This is the Buddhist teaching, and lifetime after lifetime. And so we're instructed to treat every person as if they are a mother, a father, a sister, or a brother to us. And in Buddhist countries, it's very common to refer to everyone by some kind of honorific title, like they were a relative. So they might say Uncle President or Auntie Mayor or Uncle General, Grandfather Teacher. And this is indicative of their awareness that we really are all one family. So this living with an undivided heart is a practice of living our daily life, not just on the cushion or in our seat, but in all that we do as a meditation, as meditative. And the question that Jack Kornfield shares that comes up for many people who are working on this practice is, do I really have enough time? I'm busy. How am I going to do this all the time? And so his teacher, Ajahn Chah, shared that his response when he got this question was that his students were saying there's so much to do in the monastery. He would give them all assignments, and there would be sweeping, there would be greeting visitors who came to the monastery, there'd be chanting, there would be building, there would be cleaning, all kinds of things to do around the monastery. It didn't feel like there was enough time for practice. And his answer to them was, is there enough time to be awake? To be awake. So can we do each of these things that is ours to do in our life? Awake, mindful, open, engaged, not always listening to the chatter of the mind, being present to what is here now. Everything in life offers us the opportunity to awaken, and especially our challenges when we can learn to be present to them. Jack Kornfield shares that our family life, that children are a wonderful way to experience this temple of life being everywhere. That children, they bring us into the present moment again and again. I can't think of a time where I was more present in my life than when my daughter was an infant. And I was just with her every moment, and time seemed to expand, and she was just with me, and I was with her, and it was just long days, long nights. And we think that we may not always feel like meditating or doing spiritual practice or yoga or all the things that we do to support ourselves. When you have a child and the child is sick, your attention is right there. They wake up in the middle of the night, they need you. You're fully present there in support, and that's living with that undivided heart. That's what we're talking about being present to what is there for you. In many cultures, the raising of children to be wise and healthy is considered a spiritual act. A spiritual act. In our culture, we have television and daycare be our babysitters of our children, and the result is that, as Jack Kornfield tells us, is that they can tend to be needy and to feel like they are not as respected and loved and as much of the fabric of our lives as really we would want them to be. And so he shares with us how in Eastern culture that children are seen as potential artists and leaders and contributors to humanity. And they are not so much as we are in Western culture, where the focus is on the money making and getting the parents to work, that their focus is more on raising the children. Well, nowadays, children in our culture can tend to be raised by tablets and YouTube, right? And so they can become disconnected. There's this phenomena, I guess you could say, of children who are not able to easily express empathy in our Western culture, because the tablet or the device always being their way of communication. And so this is something we want to be aware of and to bring them in to the fabric of our regular lives. He shares with us, Jack Kornfield, a story of when he took a family sabbatical to Bali and Thailand, and he took his 6-year-old daughter with him on this journey. Her name is Caroline, and he put her in a program to learn Balinese dance for 2 months. Can you imagine that? Wouldn't that be fun to get to do that, to go to another culture? And they're American. They went to Bali and to learn this dance. And so at the end of her program, her teacher invited him to come for a recital for her to get to dance, and she's 6 years old, and so he was just excited as a father to be there to support her. And so they pulled the stage out. They got the stage set up, and this was in the home of the dance teacher where he was teaching. That is where his studio was as well. They set up the stage and they prepared the music, and then they went to dress her. And so that was quite a process for her. So it took a long time for this 6-year-old whose attention span was 5 minutes, if you know 6-year-olds. And they began to dress her, and they dressed her in this beautiful silk sarong. They put a beautiful chain around her waist, and then they wrapped embroidered silk around her chest 15 times, he said. They put gold armbands on her and bracelets, and they decorated her hair with a beautiful golden flower, and they put a lot of makeup on her. He said more makeup than a 6-year-old could ever really dream of wearing. So they really did her up for this event. And he's looking at his watch, and a half hour goes by, and 45 minutes goes by, and he's kind of getting impatient. When is this recital going to start? And how many things are they going to pile on to this child? And he came to realize, he shares, when he let go of his impatience, how much honor and respect that they gave to his daughter in preparing her in such a beautiful, luxurious way, that a wonderful thing happened. And she felt that she was treated like an artist. And so when it came time for her to dance, she danced beautifully out of this experience of having been loved and cherished in such a way. And so how would you feel if as a child you were given that kind of respect, that kind of honor? That kind of honor. We can do this for our children, and we can do it for the child within ourselves. We can give that. If we hadn't received that as a child, we carry that younger self, all those younger selves with us, and we can give that to ourselves as well as we invite those younger selves into our awareness. It's said that the Buddha cultivated patience, respect, and compassion over 100,000 lifetimes. And so we can bring this patience, this respect, this compassion, a bit of this into our family, into our love relationships. And so love relationships are a practice, just as meditation is a practice. And in our relationships, they require commitment, just as a regular seated meditation practice requires a regular commitment, daily commitment. Our marriages, our personal relationships require that commitment, that it goes beyond that, well, I commit to you as long as you kind of stay the same and we agree to stay together and you don't leave me and that kind of thing, that it's beyond that. There's a conscious commitment to the relationship, to making it work, to growing together and to honoring each other so much that you have the freedom to speak your differences, to speak what is alive for you. And it's natural that in a relationship over time, fear, judgment, aversion will arise as we face life struggles, as we face struggles in the relationships. We can get restless like we do in meditation. At the times when we try to sit and we can't sit still, where doubts fill our mind, well, that can happen in our relationships too. So how do we handle it on the seat, in our seated practice? And we witness and observe it and be with it with an open heart. And can we bring that same mindfulness into our personal relationships? That's what we're being called to do as we learn to live with an undivided heart and expand our circle. So expanding our circle requires a reverence for all of life. There are 5 basic precepts that Buddhism teaches in a practice to refrain from harming others with our speech and our actions. So I would like to share those with you. These are the 5. I undertake to refrain from killing and harming living beings. I undertake to refrain from stealing and taking that which is not mine. I undertake to refrain from causing harm through sexual misconduct. I undertake to refrain from false speech, harmful speech, gossip, and slander. I undertake to refrain from the misuse of intoxicants or substances such as alcohol or drugs that cause carelessness or loss of awareness. So we can see in these 5 basic precepts, how they allow us to live in harmony with the earth, with each other, and in a way that supports life, in a way that allows us to live with an undivided heart. I want to close with one last story that was shared by Jack Kornfield that I found just to be so remarkable, and it was about the practice of these monks who followed Buddha, and part of their practice as Buddhist monks was that they were prohibited from cutting any plants or trees. And so they were realizing in these modern times that the forests of Asia were getting cut down, and there were forest monks, forest monasteries where they had their spiritual practice, and so there wasn't a place for them to do their practice out in nature the way they had been doing. And so what these wise meditation masters decided that they would do is that they took some villagers out into the forest, and they found the oldest wisdom tree that they could find, and they wrapped the tree in monks' robes all around the tree, and they ordained the tree. They ordained the tree as like it was a monk. And the beautiful thing about this is the Thai and the Burmese people so honored and had reverence for the ordination ceremony that they left that part of the forest alone. That area of the forest was saved. There's something like that we can each do to preserve the sanctity of our environment, of our family, our friends, our spiritual community, our city. That's small, and yet makes a profound difference. So as we live with an undivided heart, we follow that guidance, and we learn to let our life be our message. Namaste.
Oh, thank you, Jeanmarie. This was you just were chock full of this over here and that over there. Just my mind is still kind of racing. Loved the story of Felicity, being guided, to the great vision that she's holding at age 5 to be a vet, and the wisdom of being told that she could start now by caring for the animals and cultivating that care by doing something that is a real practical thing. And yes, I mean, it sent waves to me, of that same thing, that when we have an aspiration at any age, at any stage of life, an aspiration that feels, we feel, that feels so far in the future or removed from us or stretch or whatever it is, that of course there is that first, those little steps and the little things to do to begin to be about that. And those things will grow of their own accord in us to become our worldview and to become the way we speak about it and the way we attract people into our lives and the resources that will come and all the ways in which it becomes a very big thing because our soul is engaged. And the undivided heart, I love that, is that power source that isn't being split among egoic, needs and fears and worries versus the spiritual call, which is more pure and, coming from that. I mean, just wow. So many things. David, what did you pick up?
Well, you were effervescent tonight, and you did. There was a lot of content there, but the delivery was just so engaging. But here are the 3 big takeaways that I'm summarizing verbally so that I'll remember them later in the week. That there are small actions that we can take right in our neighborhood, but that done just out of duty is not your story at all, is not your message at all. It is how we identify. You know, we identify with our neighborhood. We identify with a larger sphere of activity. We identify with our community. And then in identifying with the community, then these small gestures have meaning. And it's whole, perfect, and complete just as it is. And that it might have dramatic effect, that's great. But it's small actions because I identify with the whole. And then the third, this is a little bit redundant, but it is a different distinction for me. It is a part of my spiritual practice. That this is something I do routinely. I do it all the time. And if I'm not, and I'm feeling the results of being a little bit divided, a little bit disengaged with the traffic around me, or my neighbors, or just some altercation or whatever, it's like, wait a minute, I have a spiritual practice. I can identify with this circumstance just as it is, and I can just feel my heart opening a little bit and my body relaxing into it. I thought it was an inspired talk. Brava.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's about intention, isn't it? I find myself when I have to clean the house, it's like, it can be a chore, cleaning, doing that. When I shift my intention to, I am creating a space of peace, a space of order for myself, for my family, for harmonious interactions, for ease of living together, then it becomes a sacred act. And so I intend to bring that to all I do, to doing the laundry or to sweeping or whatever it happens to be.
I'm sorry. I was just laughing at myself, actually, and hearing you talk about cleaning. I was mad at my husband, and I wasn't going to clean the kitchen up. I was mad at him for some reason, or just I was something. And I was in there, and I was thinking about it. I was just fuming. And do you know what I did? I was cleaning the kitchen. I cleaned the kitchen up, fuming about something, or just, and I was just walking around doing it all. And I could not believe my eyes. I had cleaned the kitchen and put everything in the dishwasher. It was ready to turn it on. And I was like, I wasn't going to do this, and I was just thinking, what a foolish, talk about a divided heart, right? I mean, like to be so unconscious that I'm going to go back to the meditation, because that was the two really questions that got me, was that you said what is the thing, let's see, how was it exactly? What is the thing that you would ask for to be removed, or the impediment to be removed from you? And also, what do you need maybe removed from other people or outside of you? Or it's something to do with
unworthiness.
Unworthiness? Yeah, something that needed to be removed. And for me, what I realized that I needed was that I needed trust. I needed to trust myself, and I also needed to trust that others would respond, however they need to respond, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I could trust their response, that I don't have to manage it, and I don't have to manipulate it or anything, and that my prayer continues to be throughout my life, that I have to move my ego out of the way so God can squeeze through, and get past my ego, because my ego wants to take control of everything and charge and get credit for it and do whatever. And it's like God just has to squeeze out somehow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what a ridiculous thing, It's like, and God is like, really, Karen, your ego cannot stop me, It's like you. What do you think? You think you can stop this thing? So it's always hilarious and a relief, because when we are just oriented to, like you said, to do the thing, when we do the thing that is really the right thing, we have no earthly idea how big the thing is, even when it's a small act. We don't know the light that shines, that incandescent light.
And it doesn't matter that we don't know, because it is the spiritual practice and the act itself that is the end game. You know, it's whole and complete and done just in the act of doing it. Oh, and by the way, there might be other things that happen. But you know you're tattling on yourself, right, Karen?
Big time. and not only that, but it's been recorded. It's out there forever. Luckily, my husband is not here tonight, but and so don't tell him. All right.
Just one more thing I would like to add to what you've shared is, and you didn't say this explicitly in your talk, but it sort of resonated in my field, and I just thought I'd share it. And that is, because it is a part of our spiritual practice and something we do in small doses, you know, just do the next right thing and the next right thing, I can imagine how very helpful that will be when applied to circumstances when I'm feeling overwhelmed, that what is being asked of me is a little more than I feel up to. And rather than being crippled by it or resentful about it or whatever, hey, God's got this. I've got a part to play in it, but that's all I need to do is my part. And I don't know if I can't imagine that I'm unique in this, but what I am feeling the last 2 weeks, as traffic gets bigger, as more people are at the gym, as the amount of activity that is being asked of me increases, I'm like, okay, it doesn't even feel like the way it used to be. It's I've had this fallow time where the pace has been slower and I've kind of settled into it, I have to say, and enjoyed it to the degree I could. And now more is being expected of me. It's kind of like, okay, I'm not quite ready. And so I just keep breathing into it and trusting that, okay, I'll do what's mine to do and everything will get done. Mm-hmm. I just have to trust that.
Yes.
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So this is the time in our service that we use our very filled up hearts from whatever you have received in prayer time, in the meditation time, in the talk, and wherever you went, whatever has filled your heart. In this moment, we want to extend our hearts in connection with one another, near and far, into this holy and sacred space, and speak the names of those people in our lives that we want more for, that we want healing, we want every good thing, prosperity, a new job, more peace in their life, more balance perhaps, more joy. And the conditions anywhere that we see or feel or experience that we wish to see raised at a higher vibration, doing something different. Whatever that is, whoever that is. Just invite you now to breathe into your heart and into the space among us and between us now. Know that it is filled with the answers, that is filled with the gifts of the universe. It is filled with every wisdom and blessing and grace and power. It is infinite. It is complete. And we now release our loved ones' names, our friends, the conditions that we wish to see change now into this holy space by speaking the names now. And we release them with our love. And we open ourselves to receive gifts we know not of, more than we could have asked, already filling our lives, already moving through us, already showing us the way. For an open heart cannot help but receive. And so as we open, as we let go, as we smile and as we feel, we know it is done, and so it is. In spirit, in us, now. Amen. We have things going on here that we want to talk to you about. First of all, the big thing is we are changing how it is that we're doing service, which you probably experienced this evening. If you came on Sunday, we actually started it there. But from this point forward, as a result of the CDC guidelines, we have opened up the ground floor of the pyramid and the sanctuary both to no distancing and no masking in accordance with those who are vaccinated. We know that they do not need that those precautions, but we are reserving the balconies both here in the pyramid and in the sanctuary for masking and distancing. And that is required, whether you're vaccinated or not. If you choose to sit in the balcony, we ask that you do that. For those who are still needing or wishing to have that sort of protection with masking. And so we just want everyone to feel able to move about with their comfort levels and to feel at ease, but we really want everyone to feel at home and welcome here again. So you'll hear more of the things that will be changing, opening back up again. We are making small movements in that direction. So you'll be hearing more about that as time moves on. And one of the other changes is we were passing the basket. I think we may have done it, but because y'all are so far apart from each other in here, maybe that didn't work. But we did it in the sanctuary on Sunday as well. But we're so grateful, so grateful. It's so wonderful to see full faces again, isn't it? And that we know we really are recognizing who we're talking to now. This is great. I do want you to know that Reverend Sheila Gatreau's Forgiveness Sanctuary is on the second and fourth Thursday of every month from 7 to 9 p.m. on Zoom. You can find her on the website. And that means, I think, tomorrow must be the fourth Thursday. Yes, it must be. So that's why that's a reminder out there for you if you're interested in taking part in her beautiful work in forgiveness. This Sunday, Reverend Michael continues his series on the end of life and beyond, and is bringing that to a close on Sunday on honoring Memorial Weekend with the message, We Remember. And so it'll be a very special Sunday, a little more special than usual, I would say. And that will be part of the part of his message on Sunday. Hope that you can be with us either online or in the sanctuary. You're most welcome there. Claudia Olmos will be speaking here in the Pyramid, 9:45, in the Spanish language service, No resistas al mal, which means do not resist evil. And so this is one of the teachings from the Sermon on the Mount that she'll be speaking on at 9:45 here in Spanish. So if you have a Spanish speaker in your family, or if you are, this is a beautiful service to participate in. And it's also being live streamed as well. So just know that that is always the case, and people can watch it as well as be present. Our Animal Kinship Ministry is accepting dry pet food and donated pet supplies, and they pick that up on the last Sunday of the month, which will be this Sunday, and so it'll be right through the drive-thru, so you can make financial donations or bring the pet food and pet supplies that you'd like to contribute. We're so grateful for that, and the ministry has really done some beautiful work in making these collections available to those pet parents who can't afford necessarily to keep their pets well cared for with those supplies. Next Wednesday, our gifts of spiritual maturity will be the subject that I'll be speaking on. And it really has to do with what is all this spiritual work really leading toward, and how does that really help when we face yet another challenge in our life, or yet another crisis, or still another thing. How is it that we just have to keep, what do they say, learning those lessons? But there is some payoff. There is some good juju that you're storing up. Come next Wednesday and we'll talk more about what that is and how it is that your all of your hard work is really earning you some great coupons to redeem in the time when you need them the most. The 12 Powers Creative Expression with Soul Collage facilitators Reverend Jeanmarie Eck and Mary Fair is coming up. It's on Fridays starting in June 4th through July 9th from 6:30 to 8:30. This is a Zoom thingy, and you can register for it and have materials online. And Reverend Jeanmarie, is there anything you want to mention about it in particular? Anything?
Is my mic on?
Now it is.
Now is the time to collect your materials, because you will want to know where in your home you have magazines, and if you don't have old magazines, go find some. You can get them for free from your friend, your dentist, the office. Well, there's lots of places. I'll help you if you need help finding magazines, if you just want to have a resource of images, or you can use online images and make your cards through your computer. The great thing about this is it's a whole new approach to learning the 12 powers, because it will allow you to create your own unique card deck that you can use to do readings and to draw upon the wisdom of your own inner spiritual faculties through your creativity. You don't need any artistic ability or experience with soul collage. Just come and join us, and you'll see how fun it is.
Oh, it sounds beautiful. And plus, it'll be such a release to be able to do artistic expression while you're also just, delving into the depths in your own life. Just a double beautiful thing. So anyway, if we didn't tease you enough with that, make sure that you go online and take a look at it for yourself. And finally, the last thing coming up in June 6th, the first Sunday, I'll be talking about, I love the way this slide says, death is not the end. That's what I'll be speaking on in a Zoom event on June 6th from 1:30 to 3. But it says an afterlife conversation with Reverend Karen Tudor. So it kind of makes it sound like I might not be around actually in the body, but it'll be afterlife conversation with me. I am planning to be here, and I am planning to be live when that happens, but it is talking about our, moving up to our fear of death, and kind of talking into the understanding of what death is and what it isn't, but more importantly, how life continues and all of the ways in which we are not really separated at all. And so there's some powerful stories to tell and stories to be shared on Zoom. I'm looking forward to people joining who have stories of their own so that we can learn from one another. I hope that you can join us. That would be Sunday, June 6th, 1:30 to 3 p.m. And on Zoom. Register on the website. And now, Reverend Jeanmarie, would you like to lead us in our metta practice?
Let's join together in speaking these words and recognizing how our practice this evening serves the world. By the power of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they know the sacred joy that arises in the space beyond suffering. May they rest in equanimity that knows no grasping or hatred. May they experience the equality of all beings. May my practice be of benefit to all.
Namaste, namaste, I bow to you. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste, namaste. Go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste.